The NBA Cup quarterfinals have wiped up, and 4 teams are headed to Vegas for the semifinals. Let's dive right in and see how the Thunder managed to take down the Mavericks first. In the first half, the game stays tight, with just a 3-point margin between the teams. Coming out of the break, SGA took over. He scored 3 consecutive 2-pointers, 2 off pick and roll and 1 from an isolation play. On the pick and roll, defenders like Grimes and Lively couldn't put enough pressure on him, while in the one-on-one situation, Klay Thompson couldn't slow him down as well. The Mavericks were missing key defenders like Derrick Jones and PJ Washington, making it even tougher to contain SGA. Although SGA also hit some incredible step-back threes, it's his ability to score no matter what the defender does that truly stood out, with the Mavs struggling to find the right matchups and the intensity. SGA takeover in the third quarter set the tone for the rest of the game. Pressure, deflections, and fast breaks. These were key areas where the Mavericks simply couldn't match the Thunder. The Thunder nearly neutralized Luka Doncic by doubling him right after he crossed half-court. Was Luka's performance poor? Well, he committed 6 turnovers. 9 came directly from the double teams. In fact, he handled the pressure well, passing out of the traps and finding open shooters. The Mavs shot effectively in the first half, staying within reach thanks to their ball movement and shot making. But this raises another question. After watching the intense, down-to-the-wire game against the Warriors and the Rockets, can the Thunder maintain this level of offensive execution? As we saw in the Warriors-Rockets matchup, sustaining high-intensity offense against top-tier opponents is no easy task. Now let's turn to the Warriors-Rockets game, which wasn't decided until the final minutes. Ultimately, it came down to Jalen Green's free throw. However, this game highlights Rockets struggling to generate effective offense in clutch situations. When Sengun couldn't gain an advantage against Draymond Green, the Rockets' offense often broke down into isolation plays that left Grant VanVleet or Jalen Green taking contested shots, reflecting a lack of reliable half-court system under pressure and superstar. On the other side, the Warriors found their rhythm from beyond the arc and nearly sealed the victory, but in the last 4 or 5 possessions, their offense stalled. They ran out the clock, made passing errors, and committed turnovers. These mistakes opened a window for the Rockets to stay in the game and eventually capitalize on Warriors' late-game missteps. With the top 2 teams in the West Conference, both young and eager to prove themselves facing off, what can we expect? For the Rockets, facing the Warriors often feels psychologically tougher. They haven't been the Warriors after James Harden left until the very last game. Meeting the Thunder should be more comfortable. Just a few days ago, on December 1st, Houston clinched a win over OKC, with Grant VanVleet dropping 38 points. This time, VanVleet will have to contend with Alex Caruso, one of the league's best perimeter defenders. Can VanVleet deliver a similar performance under this pressure? Meanwhile, when the Thunder play the Mavericks, they attempt 50 threes and hit 20 of them. Unlike the Mavericks, the Rockets rarely drop coverage on shooters, but their main defensive weakness lies in chasing off-ball shooters like Stephen Curry or Buddy Hield, types of snipers that the Thunder don't really have. Still, the Thunder hold a key advantage. They lead the leagues in deflections and points of turnovers, and in half-court sets, they can rely on SGA to create offense. This is a luxury the Rockets don't share. It will also be intriguing to watch the national teammates SGA and Dillon Brooks go head-to-head once again.
And then Brooks ties up Gilgeous-Alexander. Here's Williams. Here come both teams. Here comes Rocket security. And we got a scrum in front of the Rocket bench.
Testing each other's skills and composure in a high-stakes environment. Which team do you think will advance to the NBA Cup Finals? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Let's move on. With the West looking unpredictable, let's shift gears and see what happened in the East. Starting with the matchup between the Bucks and the Magic. The Magic showed resilience despite missing two of their best players, Aro Banchero and Franz Wagner. Jalen Suggs stepped up and scored 32 points, but in the final moments, it was Damian Lillard's 5 points that gave the Bucks the lead. Let's break down those last possessions. This was a half-court set for the Bucks, so the Magic had time to set their defense. Yet, Jalen Suggs, one of the best perimeter defenders, was in the corner guarding Gary Trent Jr., not Lillard. Meanwhile, KCP was on Chris Middleton, who had scored 0 points that night. This left a second-year rookie, Anthony Black, to guard Lillard. When the Magic tried to switch, Carter ends up on Lillard, and Giannis also had a mismatch he could have attacked. The result? Lillard took a tough step-back three and tied the game. On the next possession, the defensive setup was similar. Black still guarded Lillard, who easily drove to the basket for the go-ahead bucket. This was too easy for Lillard. It was nothing that earlier in the game, Suggs had been assigned to Lillard, so this wasn't a planned strategy from the start. In the end, the Bucks capitalized on the Magic's late-game defensive mix-up. It wasn't a perfect win, considering the Magic's depleted roster, but Giannis dropped 37 points and remained unstoppable. The Bucks' shooting, especially from players like Bobby Portis, also made a difference. Now the question is, can the Bucks carry this momentum into their matchup against the Hawks? The Hawks took a win over the Knicks, cementing their reputation as giant killers. Keep in mind, the Knicks currently rank second in offensive rating, yet the Hawks hold them to just 100 points. How did they turn things around in the third quarter? Trae Young played a pivot role. Compared to the 2020-21 season when the Hawks advanced to the Eastern Conference Final, when Trae usage rate was 32, this year it's down to 26.2. Still the highest on the team, but showing that he's not holding the ball as much. Despite this reduced usage, his offensive looks better, as he's averaging 12.2 assists per game, with players like Hunter and Bogey often coming off the bench. The Hawks can maintain offensive pressure during mixed lineups. Defensively, Young's size often labeled him as a potential liability. For this season, he's stepping up to the challenge. The Hawks rely on defenders like Dyson Daniels, a primary on-ball defender who navigates screens effectively, preventing teams from easily switching to target Trae Young. When Young guarded a corner shooter, he's alert to backdoor cuts and contest shots as best as he can. While facing the Bucks, the Hawks ends Milwaukee's 7-game winning streak on December 4th. They won by 15 points, despite Trae Young going 0 for 9 from beyond the arc. The Hawks' defense is as strong as the Magic's, but with a better offense. The Bucks, meanwhile, struggled due to their lack of reliable perimeter defenders, even with Chris Middleton's return off the bench to balance things out against Bogey. Still, it's Portis' job to match up with Hunter. Also, let's not overlook Risa Shea, the #1 draft pick, who's received surprisingly little media attention. His low-profile start might actually be good for his development. Fewer eyes means fewer distractions, allowing him to focus on his game among supportive Hawks fans rather than dealing with harsh criticism. As the Bucks and Hawks gear up for the next challenge, a few questions stand out. How effectively can Dyson Daniels lock down Damian Lillard? Can Bobby Portis take advantage of his matchup against Hunter? Who do you think will advance to the NBA Cup Finals? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more NBA content. Until next time, enjoy the NBA Cup!